They look at developing both the curator and the artists selected to participate. That's MTN X UJ New Contemporary Awards, which this year saw Khanya Mashabela awarded the curatorship of the awards to be held on the 25th of November this year at the UJ Art Gallery. Mashabela has been formulating her research, selection of artists and curatorial vision for the inaugural event, and the 4 artists selected as finalists for the program are Cape Town-based artist Inga Somdyala and Thandiwe Msebenzi. Callan Grecia. Curator at UJ Art Gallery, Thabo Seshoka, joins us now to tell us more. Thabo, very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Cool. Thank you so much, Imperial.
Now, you launched the MTN X UJ Contemporary Awards earlier this year. Tell us more about these awards and what really inspired them.
Cool. So, the MTN and MTN SA Foundation and UJ Art Gallery have enjoyed a very long partnership over the past few years. Yes. And we focus more on the development of our own collections and how we show our works. But we wanted to do something very different. And so this year, we launched the MTN X UJ New Contemporary Awards. And the purpose of the awards being to develop more artists, looking at a curatorial competition or curatorial program that focuses on the curator, which is Khanya Mashabela. To take it further then, Khanya then works with 4 emerging artists, women career artists that haven't yet been well known or well recognized. And so the purpose of this competition is mostly about focusing on the curator and developing them. So the curator is guided by myself from UJ and Neil from the MTN SA Foundation and a legacy panel. Okay. The artists are also then advised on their project. And what also makes this project very different is, unlike most art programs or competitions where the artists are expected to produce their own works and then submit them for adjudication, we provided the startup funding, we provided seed funding to the artists so that they all have equal footing when they start working on their projects. Right.
Let's now talk about the brief that has been given to Khanya Mashabela, as the curator of this project. So what is it? What's the role that she's been entrusted with? What does that role entail?
Well, that's a very interesting question, because this is the first year in which we're looking at this competition and this program, right? But the main thing that we wanted Khanya to focus on was curating a show that would look at how is it that we're able to push the boundaries curatorially. Yes. So it's more focused on a curatorial project, pushing the boundaries of curatorial practice. Okay. It's further being that Khanya has been entrusted with the role of mentoring the 4 artists or the 4 nominees whose works we will be presenting next week. She's also then further been mentoring and working alongside 3 FADA students, which are students studying at UJ that are then, coming along with the program as well. Right.
Now, what are some of the themes that she explores? I mean, what kind of subjects that she thrust the spotlight on?
Well, in Khanya's show Subject-Object, she explores different themes, and in this case, she explores the concept of selfhood, she explores the concept of masculinity, the concept of gender, and just how is it that, of personhood as well, how is it that as a person and identity, how you're able to conceptualize of it, how you're able to present yourself, what does it necessarily mean to you? What is also very different is, with Khanya's work, is that we're facing a time where people are asking so many questions with regards to themselves. What does it mean? And how is it that they're able to understand everyone in relation to themselves? And so that's really been what Khanya's been questioning. The competition further, so in addition to focusing on subjecthood, we wanted to focus on digital arts, because we think that is where the arts are going. And so emphasis was placed on new media, was placed on digital art, because that's how we are seeing the world going. That's how more people are starting to consume art.
Will that change the direction completely, I mean, when it comes to digital art?
No. I think the idea is not about changing the direction. It's just simply acknowledging that we have a new form of of art that exists, and it is going to continue. In the same way that when photography was first introduced as an art form, people thought that it was changing everything. It wasn't necessarily.
And it didn't, yeah.
And so now with digital arts, it's about how is it that we're able to support the more established disciplines within the fine arts.
So what are the kinds of conversations that you're hoping will be sparked by this project?
Well, the first thing for us, right, and this coming from the UJ Gallery side, is that we've wanted to reposition ourselves and reimagine ourselves as a young space. We are looking at developing our audiences. We're looking at making the gallery more accessible. And so with this conversation and with this exhibition, it's also about making the gallery accessible. It's about showing that more young people are focused on different topics. They're focused on understanding selfhood, focused on understanding their identity, and not necessarily in relation just simply to race and gender, but they're questioning everything else that exists that is there. And for us, we see ourselves as a very important space in terms of cultivating that and allowing for conversations like that to happen. Okay. That's being the nature of a university as well. It's about questioning, it's about learning, and we're providing that space.
Yes, yes. Let's now talk about the finalists, as finalists for these awards. So what made them stand out?
Well, that's a very interesting question. So with what Khanya was entrusted to do is that she was entrusted with traveling the whole country, visiting studios, visiting galleries, and looking at artists whose works are focused on digital media or are focused on new media. And so these 4 artists were the artists that stood out and the artists that we thought could best communicate our messaging. And for us, it's about how is it that we are supporting digital arts that is focused on both our strategies as both the MTN SA Foundation and as the UJ.
Right, right. Yeah. And I guess the big question is, did you really find what we're looking for in these 4 finalists?
Yes, we did. Well, we did. I would argue that we did. And I think this is the start. It's about how is it that we're able to have more engagement in a different way. And I think we have found it in the sense that the works that have been produced and that will be unveiled at the gala next week speak to what it is that we wanted to accomplish. And we're looking forward to next year as well.
And I suppose one group of people who've had the biggest and toughest of tasks is the panel, selecting these people. So what was it that they brought to the table?
Well, so after Khanya traveled the country, she came up with a list of names. And so she presented the names to the legacy panel. The legacy panel being former curators of the MTN New Contemporaries Award. And so their role was to advise and to strengthen the concept and to say, do they best communicate this? And for them, it was Khanya coming and presenting these artists whose works we'll be seeing next week, and for them to then adjudicate the strength of those works. They've then, the selected artists have had the past few months to work on new works, and next week their works are then adjudicated and they stand the opportunity to win a cash prize of 100,000 Rand for the main winner, and then with the nominees leaving with other cash prizes as well.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the upcoming exhibitions.
Well, in our sense, for us, with regards to our upcoming exhibitions, is that we're looking at working with more mid-career and more emerging artists. That is how we're positioning ourselves as the UJ Art Gallery. Being located within a university space, we want to work with a younger audience. We want to engage a younger audience because we feel that's where the arts are. We are trying to build more of an audience that appreciates everything, because what we're starting to notice is that there exists this devoid, where people feel that they're excluded from art galleries. And so for us in our programming, we are looking then at shows that are appealing to a younger audience so that we can build them in order to get them to start to appreciate more of the arts.
And in terms of, in your quest of developing the younger audience, as you've put it, do you get a sense that there is some sort of hunger from the younger audience to make arts as a vehicle for their own livelihoods, not just as a hobby?
Yes, it is. I think there is a trust there. With ourselves, the UJ Art Gallery is located within the Faculty of Art, Design and Architecture at the University of Johannesburg, and we do have a course that teaches visual arts. Sure. And what we're starting to realize is that more and more individuals are starting to see art and arts management as a career. So it's no longer necessarily a hobby, but it is a career in which more people are taking an interest in. It's our role as institutions to support more emerging artists and more emerging curators, and hence, programs like the MTN UJ New Contemporaries Award and how we position ourselves. Because without supporting more artists, more curators as they start at the bottom, we stand a chance of losing them, and that's not what we'd want to accomplish.
Right, right. All right, Thabo, great chatting to you, man.
Cool.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Good stuff. Well, Thabo Seshoka is a curator at UJ Art Gallery, speaking to us about the MTN UJ New Contemporary Awards being held on the 25th of November this year at the UJ Art Centre.